WGMD Rehoboth Beach and 98.5 WUSX Seaford, the talk of Delmarva.
What he got as a gift just got off the ground. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, the new Air Force One.
We're very proud of this. The country is very proud of it.
President Trump's now flying in that plane on his way to North Dakota for the dedication of Teddy Roosevelt's presidential library.
The new Air Force One is a gift from the Qatari government, a Boeing 747 modified by the Air Force after delivery last year.
They made it appropriate for a president. That means the security and all of the different bells and whistles.
It joins the fleet as an interim aircraft for use before the completion of two new Boeing 747s built for Air Force One use, running behind schedule, pushed back to mid-2028. It's painted with a dark blue underbelly and a white top separated by a red and a gold stripe, replacing the light blue, silver, and white color scheme used since the Kennedy administration.
Fox's Chris Foster. Before taking off, reporters also asked the president about a financial filing showing he made nearly $1.2 billion from his cryptocurrency investments last year.
Well, I've made a lot of money before I became president, and they invest my money, and I don't talk to them. I don't even speak to them. So I have many people, I don't know what they call it, closed accounts or something. You put your money in, and that's it.
The president also touted oil prices falling again today.
Lower than when I started the, I guess you could call it an attack on Iran so that they never have a nuclear weapon.
His special envoys are in Qatar for another round of talks today through mediators, with keeping shipping flowing in the Strait of Hormuz still a big issue. Now to Colorado, where another socialist has primaried out a Democrat in Congress.
We won tonight, but this is about something so much bigger than this moment.
Maylard Quiros defeated Diana DeGette, who's been in Congress longer than she's been alive. Quiros was born a year after DeGette was first elected. It's a very Democratic Denver district, so Quiros is a strong favorite to win that House seat in November, just like the two socialists who defeated Democratic congressman last week in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven. You can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 866-89-BIBLE. That's 866-89-BIBLE. 866-89-BIBLE.
Another update from your local news source, 92.7 and 98.5 WGMD, the talk of Delmarva.
The Delaware State Police is investigating an officer-involved shooting. Delaware State Police responded to the 100 block of East Cherry Drive in Magnolia for a reported domestic incident. While responding, troopers learned that the suspect, who was reported to be suicidal, was armed and attempting to enter the residence where his ex and other family members were sheltering inside. Troopers found Christopher Glandon in the home's front yard. Despite numerous requests, Glandon refused to comply with officer commands and during the incident pointed a handgun at the troopers. Two troopers then fired their weapons, striking Glandon. They provided first aid until EMS arrived, but he died at the scene. The troopers have been placed on administrative leave as per standard protocol while a use of force investigation is conducted. Governor Matt Myers signed Delaware's fiscal 2027 operating budget, approving a plan that invests in public education, affordable housing, health care, and the state workforce while lowering costs and expanding opportunity for Delaware families. Among the highlights, a historic investment of nearly $200 million in public education, expanded eligibility for the purchase of care program, and increased support for seniors and pay increases for direct care professionals who serve those with developmental and intellectual disabilities. Myers says a budget is more than dollars and cents. He says it's a statement of values. Meyer gave credit to the General Assembly, noting that due to their partnership, they were able to deliver a budget that helps to make Delaware more affordable today while building a stronger future for tomorrow. The Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is taking action to protect folks from the incoming heat wave. The state is activating cooling centers to provide a safe, air-conditioned refuge for those looking to escape dangerous temperatures and stay hydrated. Most locations will be open from 8:30 until 4:30 today and tomorrow. You'll find a list of those cooling stations throughout the area at talkofdelmarva.com. An extreme heat watch is in effect tomorrow as well. That lasts from tomorrow afternoon through Saturday evening. We'll see dangerously hot conditions with those heat indices up to 110 degrees. For more on these and other stories, visit talkofdelmarva.com. I'm Stace Keene.
Your home has done a lot for you, providing a comfortable place to live. Now let your home's ever-increasing value help you even more. If you're 62 years or older, did you know a reverse mortgage will provide tax-free access to money with no mortgage payment? Proceeds can be used to provide yourself with more financial comfort. Did you know you still maintain ownership and leave the home to your heirs? Contact me, Jim Fritz of All American Mortgage, located in Dagsboro, Delaware, taking care of all of Delaware and Maryland. Call 302-245-2327.
Listen up, Delmarva anglers. The Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report, 7 days a week after the 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 4 p.m. news and sports.
The Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report is brought to you by Complete Tree Care, licensed and insured. Request an estimate at CompleteTreeCareDE.com. And Chesapeake Bath and Home Solutions, employee-owned, so every project is personal. Visit ChesapeakeBath.com.
It's time for the Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report with Eric Burnley.
Tuesday was the last day of reasonable weather before we go into the oven. Dan at Dan's Tackle said fishing at Broadkill Beach was good. As one lady came into the shop with a cooler full of spot, she caught on fish bites. 12-year-old Brennan Shearer weighed in a 4.06-pound Delaware citation triggerfish. He caught at the haystacks on a sand flea. Lewis Harbor Arena said sheepshead were caught at the icebreakers on green crabs and sand fleas. Flounder were taken out of the Lewis and Rehoboth Canal on minnows. Breakwater tackle on the fishing pier at Cape Henlopen State Park reported small stripers and spot made up most of the catch from the pier on Tuesday. Hook'em and Cook'em saw yellowfin tuna from the canyons, and Captain Bob had flounder. This is Eric Burnley with your Talk of Delmarva Fishing Report.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
My story represents the experiences of millions of Iranians who have suffered under the Islamic Republic of Iran. I speak not only for myself, but for Iranians who have been silenced, imprisoned, tortured, or executed and can no longer speak for themselves.
And that's really it, my friends. Marziyeh is, by her own admission, via her speech at the Faith and Freedom Coalition Conference 2026 at the Washington Hilton in D.C., that she, because she has freedom, is speaking on behalf of all Iranians, all Persians who want freedom. And it's interesting. There's an idea floated in the Memo of Understanding, or whatever the heck it's called, MOU, that some of the frozen Iranian assets, frozen since the Shah was driven from power in 1979, some of that money was going to be freed up and given to American farmers to grow food for the Iranian people. Now, my response to that is, well, how many times have we heard that before? That was what we were told was going to happen in Gaza. And what did Hamas do, Jonathan, with that food?
They dug tunnels and
stole the food and then sold it.
Stole the food, extorted the people, brutalized the people, and dug tunnels and arms to kill other people.
But the food did not really, it didn't reach the people it was supposed to reach, correct?
This is another J.D. Vance scenario in Harry Met's Alley.
Yeah, no, that's, yes, that is true. But both of you attended the Faith and Freedom Conference in 2026. Now, I want to get to a question. Before we talk about the Faith and Freedom concert, I want to get to what is a question from our listener-producer 3M. Jonathan, a lot has been said about President Trump's hesitancy on using ground troops in Iran. And that's really the only way to drive the regime from power. He asks, without ground troops, how will the regime in Iran change, or how will it end? I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to ask Marziyeh from her vantage point what she thinks.
So I'm not a military expert.
We understand that.
I have children who serve in the military, but I've never had that opportunity. My sense is that, very simply, if the goal of a war against the Islamic Republic is victory, then America and Israel need to do everything possible to have a unilateral victory. And if that requires, it's kind of unimaginable to me how that would not involve boots on the ground, at least to secure and eliminate the actual nuclear material that they have, the highly enriched nuclear material that's the threat.
Would you trust the UN to do that?
No, I don't trust the UN.
Okay.
No.
Marziyeh's smirking. She doesn't trust the UN either, do you, Marziyeh?
And so the question is, and it's a long debate, it's a great question, thank you for the question, is what's the goal? If the goal is to open up the Strait of Hormuz that was open before, and there were no tariffs to go through it, then honestly America failed. If the goal was to set them back and kill a couple of Ayatollahs, I'm all for that. But if the goal is and must be regime change, to see peace in the world that we've never seen since the Second World War, because the Islamic Republic is that danger to the United States,
to the entire world,
and if the goal is that elimination, then we need to do whatever's necessary. I don't know if that involves hand-to-hand combat, going through the city streets, taking on IRGC, or setting. I don't know what that looks like, but I reject the notion of of saying no boots on the ground if we have a goal.
Marziyeh, there's been a big question, obviously, in this country. When will the Iranian people, the Persian people, rise up against the regime? They did in January. Last reports, there were over 40,000 innocent people killed that did, in fact, take to the streets. Can the regime be overthrown by the Iranian people who do not have guns, they do not have arms? We did hear this morning that a couple of IRGC officers were taken out in Iran yesterday. That was reported, I believe, by the Jerusalem Post. Jonathan, was it?
I don't remember where I saw it.
So, I mean, there are some things going on where the IRGC is being directly targeted, but in your estimation, can the Persian people, the Kurds, can the people inside Iran rise up, do you think, without foreign boots on the ground to rid themselves of the regime? Is it possible?
Of course, it's possible, but it's the matter of time. And what is our goal? It's Iranian people. January 18 and 19 was not the first time that Iranian people started protesting against the regime. There were many times since the beginning of this regime, 1979. At different times, Iranian people came to the streets and protest against this regime, but each time they suppressed people. They arrested hundreds of thousands of people, executed them in prisons, shoot at people each time. In 2009, for example, I was in prison. It was during Obama's presidency that I witnessed firsthand how many people got arrested. The prison cells were packed, and we didn't have a space to sleep in prison cells. That was the amount of people that they arrested during that protest. And I remember at that time, millions of Iranians came to the streets. They asked help from Obama, and they called his name in the streets. They said, "Obama, are you standing with us or with them?" What Obama did, unfortunately, he betrayed Iranian people. Yep. He not only shook the bloody hands of the Ayatollahs, he also made a terrible deal and sent billions of dollars to the regime. Right. And each time Iranian people felt that they were betrayed by Western leaders. And this time, on January, when they came to the streets, millions of Iranian people nationwide protests in many cities, and they chant the name of Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, and they said this is the final battle, and Pahlavi will return. So again, the regime, what they did, they brought their military people, IRGC terrorists, and a lot of their security forces to the streets. And half of them, more than half of them, when we look at the films, they imported from Iraq, Afghanistan, Hezbollah, Lebanon, Syria. They brought their terrorist proxies to Iran to kill Iranians. And Iranian people are fighting with bare hands. They don't have anything to defend themselves. But if you look at the films, it's amazing that how bravely, courageously they stood in front of these people, but they brought machine guns, military guns to the street and started killing thousands of innocent people. The news says it was 40,000 people that were killed during that protest. But honestly, based on my experience, the number is much more than that. And I promise you, after the fall of the regime, we will witness and see the news coming. A horrible news will come out of Iran, because we heard lots of people that they dumped their bodies in mass graves. Still, families are looking for their children. So for this situation, imagine how Iranian people are supposed to defend themselves. Yes, they don't want this regime. Above 80 million of Iranians are against this regime. No matter if the West are going to deal with them, negotiate with them, Iranian people will bring down this regime. But it's the matter of how much sacrifice, how many people are going to be killed. Right. Are we going to help them? Iranian people need any kind of means to be able to defend themselves. Many of them showed interest that they are ready, because they are at war. Iranian people have been taken hostage. It's not just a normal government. They are evil people possessed with demons, and they need help. And many of them showed interest that we are ready to fight for our country. Just teach us, give us the means to defend ourselves.
Well, let me ask you this question, Marziyeh. Do you believe Obama and Biden, which they both sent billions of dollars to the regime in cash, that they extended the life of the regime? Is that a fair question to ask?
Exactly, because no dollar of those money, anything that they sent to the regime, goes to Iranian people.
No, nothing.
Goes all to strengthening their power and their proxies all around the world. That's why Iranian people are so much against Palestinian. And they were thousands of them in the stadium just months ago before this protest. And they brought the flag of Palestine to take advantage of that crowd, to show that, look, Iranian people supporting. No, that's not the truth. Iranian people are not supporting this regime and their agendas. And they told, take the flag of Palestine and shove it up. That's the truth. People are angry. For so many years, you used us and you use our money for Palestinians who are Palestinian. Right. They don't care about it.
Well, the Iranian people were not benefiting from that money at all. We know that. We need to take a break. When we come back, Jonathan, I want to touch upon what we talked about last night privately, and we talked about this on the air the last time you were on, and that is the desecration of Roman Catholic symbols. And the reason that you think that this is happening, I think you're right, spot on. And let's talk about it next, because the IRGC is taking a lot of heat for this. But why is it happening? Let's try to get to the core reason that IRGC soldiers are perhaps not understanding the importance of Christian symbols. When we come back on Your News Talk America this Wednesday, a discussion. We'll take your phone calls as well. A discussion for the ages, really. 302-945-9292 from Delaware, if you're calling from Delaware. Anywhere else across the fruited plain, 800-518-9292, 800-518-9292.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Bright sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 91. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows level off around 74. Daytime highs approaching 98 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday with highs from the upper 90s to near 100. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center, inland. Right now, 82.
Hi, this is the Rehoboth Foodie. Join me on Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4 on WGMD 92.7, the talk, or rather, the food of Delmarva.
Meteorologist Jason Caterina with your KFC weekend weather update. Saturday will be very hot with partial sunshine, and there will be a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 99 degrees, introducing the KFC $10 bucket of the day deal. Now every weekday, you get a different bucket of crispy, crunchy chicken for just $10 each. 24 nuggets, $10. 8-piece, $10. 10 wings, $10. 8 tenders, $10. Only at KFC. Prices and participation may vary while supplies last.
Fresh paint inside, fresh flowers outside. Summer at your house is looking good. During July 4th deals at Lowe's. Buy one, get one free. Select interior paint via mail-in rebate. Plus, get 2 1.5-gallon red, white, and blue annual hanging baskets for just $15. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 7/8. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See store at Lowe's.com for details and requirements. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, Delaware, we care. This is Steve Bell from Bell House Medical in Lewis, Delaware. If you need a scooter, if you need a power chair, if you need something that's going to help you mobilize and get around the house or out of the house and you're not able to walk and you need something with a motor, easy to charge, easy to take with you, we have Pride scooters and power chairs. Come take a test drive on the scooters. Pride mobility scooters are the best in the industry. They're dependable. Bell House Medical in Lewis, Delaware is open on Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 p.m. On Saturdays, only by appointment.
Views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and not necessarily the staff, management, ownership, advertisers, or sponsors of WGMD.
One blood donation can help save many lives. Give blood today. Call the Blood Bank of Delmarva at 1-888-8-BLOOD-8 or visit delmarvablood.org. For information, go to the Community Outreach under the Extras tab at thetalkofdelmarva.com.
The best mix of news, talk, and sports. 92.7 and 98.5. The Talk of Delmarva.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
I'm working on learning these controls again in this studio because they're much different than my studio. I had to learn all the controls in my studio, Jonathan, and then come back here, and I'm trying to reacclimate myself to back to Studio A. Big Cat asks, and a good question, there is way too much focus on Iran and Israel. Republicans need to focus on things going on in our own country. The majority of Trump's second term has been about supporting Israel, and this war is a debacle. I wish he would move on. Jonathan, there are a lot of Americans that have the similar sentiment as our producer, Big Cat. What do you say?
I don't disagree with that. America has a whole wide range of priorities coming in general as we celebrate 250 years of independence and coming up on the midterms and 2 years of presidential election. I don't disagree. The media is obsessed with Israel.
For the wrong reasons?
For the simplistic reasons, because Israel has easy access and it's a much... and people,
they're an easy target as well.
An easy target, and people like to talk about it. But, you know, Israel's a country of 10 million people. Yes, we have an oversized presence for a lot of reasons, first and foremost, biblically. But as a country, I would say this, as a country rooted in Judeo-Christian values, Israel does matter. The Founding Fathers know that Israel matters. If you go, you have a copy of my book, Israel the Miracle. Mm-hmm. One of the best essays in there is by a guy named David Barton, known as America's historian. He writes about the infusion of Jewish and Jewish values, biblical values, from the Founding Fathers going back more than 250 years.
God's natural law.
100%. So, is there a disproportionate Discussion of Israel, yes, absolutely. Should other things be aired? Yes. But the flip side of the disproportionate discussion is America has wide interests around the world. Russia, Ukraine is important. The slaughter of Christians in Africa is important.
Yeah.
The Islamization of Europe. There are many things that Americans can and should be focused on, and I think Israel is kind of low-hanging fruit or the easy target that make things oversimplistic and has now become a lightning rod for a lot of it.
Our listener producer Spiro asks, while they agree J.D. Vance is taking a very Pollyanna and naive view of the situation with the regime in Iran, I agree. We talked about that earlier. But isn't he following the teachings and wishes of Pope Leo, who says that Muslims are brothers? Don't you know he's following the Pope? He's not following his brain. Well, that's always a big complaint about Catholics, that they're going to do what the Pope says and not what they really think. Now, Pope Leo welcomed, I believe it was the Iranian foreign minister to the Vatican last month or the month before. I was outraged at that. Where is, did Pope Leo mention to him about the what the regime is doing to Christians and Christian churches in Iran? I bet it never even broached the subject, but he's always good at, he's good at blessing blocks of ice for climate change worshippers.
I can't speak to Pope Leo.
I can. And I do.
Here's what I think. Plain and simple. You're right. America should focus on America's problems first.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Radical Islam
okay.
in the Middle East. They're
Oh.
already here. Homegrown radicalization.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I don't know where that is.
Is that AI coming through on your phone?
Yeah,
It's all we have to contend with now is AI. Big Cat say, just curious, if you do a poll on here, which foreign country has the most influence on the decisions the Trump administration makes? Is it China? Is it Russia? Is it Israel? Or is it the UK? I don't think it's the UK.
Qatar.
You think so? Interesting.
Come on.
Interesting response.
The United States
Why?
just got a $450 million bribe with a new airplane.
Yeah, it just took off for the first time.
Come on. Qatar is an Islamist country that's cozying up, and President Trump thinks that we can deal with them?
Okay, there you go. That's a fair.
Marziyeh thing.
I agree.
You agree, Big Cat? What do you think of? He posted that in the Dial Lounge, by the way. What did you think of Jonathan's response there, Big Cat? We'll wait for him to weigh in. 800-518-9292, 302-945-9292. Last night, you and I spoke at great length about the desecration of Roman Catholic symbols, which has taken place both in Lebanon, in Lebanon, and then there was violence against a nun, a Catholic religious, recently that was captured on video. You tell our listeners, you've told them before, but for those listening now that haven't heard you say it before, and I've also explained your opinions on why this is happening, you believe that they are occurring in Lebanon and Jerusalem primarily, I'll let you expand on this, because Christians are not reaching out to Jews. There are those that don't understand Christianity, that don't understand the religion, the symbols, and that ignorance is leading to these kinds of problems. Am I wrong in the way I described it?
That's one element. It's complicated. I'm going to try and be brief and concise.
Okay.
I think that there are a variety of things. First of all, the desecration, I don't know if it was Catholic, but the Christian symbols, the destruction of a statue of Jesus, sticking a cigarette in
Blessed Virgin Mary statue.
Right.
Yeah.
Silly things, inappropriate things, and even gross things happen in what's called the fog of war. I had a conversation not long ago with my son's former commanding officer, who happens to be a Lebanese-born Christian.
Fabulous story you told me last night.
So he was telling me nothing to do with that. That was the catalyst of the conversation. He said, I've led my 85 Jewish troops into Gaza, into Lebanon, into Syria, and I see stupid things happening in the fog of war. That's part of it. I do believe also that Israelis typically don't know Christians and Christianity and Christian symbols. Christians are the only growing Christians in Israel are the only growing population of Christians in the Middle East. but Christians in Israel still only represent about 2% of the population. Right. So as evidenced by my own sons-in-law, who never met a Christian until they came into my family, because of what I do, most Israelis don't know. And if you see a statue, you don't even necessarily know that that's Jesus.
They're not going to see a statue in a synagogue.
No. And they wouldn't necessarily know what it is, but minimally that's disgusting and gross, and it's a destruction of other people's property, whether it's a religious symbol or not. And whoever got the idea to find a sledgehammer and take a sledgehammer to a statue of Jesus and someone film it, thank God those soldiers were disciplined. They were put in military jail, and I think if I remember the story correctly, it's now they were now eliminated from the army, which is not.
They were separated from the army. I guess.
They've been taken out of military duty. That's a very severe response.
Well, war. There's always the war of propaganda, Jonathan, and if you lose that war of propaganda, you're in deep doo-doo.
Correct. Now the other thing. Now that's assuming someone doesn't know what's going on, that this is a Christian symbol and it's inappropriate. Then there are people who know that, that's a Christian symbol, but we also know, and I said it to you last night, we're people who still celebrate every spring our liberation from Egypt 3,500 years ago.
Right.
So we know of the crimes that have happened to us, to the Jewish people, over the last mostly 2 millennia, right, and in recent years by the Protestant church as well. And we know these things. And so some people feel like they can vanquish those who have done things horrific to us. I don't justify that. I think it's disgusting and inappropriate, but that's an excuse. That's an explanation. Better is a better word. The last thing to say, which is all of that rolls into one bundle. The last thing to say is that Christians there are tens of or hundreds of millions of Christians around the world who love and support Israel and the Jewish people. And they demonstrate that in many different ways. But Israelis don't see that. Israelis don't know that. Israelis don't understand that. Mm-hmm. And it's that, unfortunately, is compounded by the dominant form of Christian tourism known as a pastor's trip, where people get on and off a bus all day from the hotel till night.
You mentioned this, Jonathan, and,
right.
and for those of you listening who have taken a trip to the Holy Land or plan on some point taking a trip to the Holy Land with your pastor, with your priest, with an organized church group going, Jonathan, tell from your vantage point, and you see it, what the mistake that Christians do when they come to the Holy Land, which is not helping the situation.
These are known as pastors' trips, right. And I don't my intent is not to diss the notion of tourism or this concept of tourism. My intent is to say, is to explain, I'm about building relationships. That's why Marziyeh and I are here. Our program, Root and Branch, is about building relationships and connections. And I don't want to discourage anyone from coming on any trip to Israel. But if you're simply on and off a bus all day, seeing sights with no interaction with Israelis, except intuitively your Jewish tour guide, intuitively your Arab bus driver, Israeli Arab bus driver, and you'll have the same waiters in the hotel where you're eating breakfast and dinner every day, and the waiters you interact with, they clean up your plates, but that's the only interaction that you have with us, and conversely, that we have with you. And when I say we, there's no interaction. I use the example. They don't even get to go out for a free falafel lunch where the guy,
which I would love to do,
stuffing a falafel in a pita with the salad and the hummus and the tahina, that can say, hey, where are you from? I'm from Delaware. I'm from Texas. Thank you for coming here. God bless you. God bless you. We love you. Even a nominal conversation like that.
And you say that's not happening for tourists.
It doesn't happen enough because the pastor's trip is a sightseeing trip where Marziyeh experienced something similar.
It's Christian isolationism.
You take pictures of the places, and then you've seen so many places, you don't even know what you've seen in the end.
It's Christian isolationism, Jonathan.
It's just with blinders on, and I think that it's the Holy Land. It's also the people, and people should come and visit and connect with us. And I'm not saying this as a matter of blame. I'm just laying out what I believe are 4 or 5 different circumstances as to why a Jewish person would think that it would even be normal or possible to take a sledgehammer to a statue of Jesus or spit at a Christian
Because Christians to them are not people. It's just some idea somewhere they have not met.
We live in a bubble, and they don't interact. I don't want to suggest that they're not people, because that's sort of almost a dehumanization and a Nazi.
Right.
There's a arrogance. There's an inappropriateness. We live in a bubble. Thank God, that's very successful. The enterprise of Israel for the last 78 years. But that sometimes that bubble, and I've had plenty of interactions with Israelis who exist like this, and I try to poke the bubble,
right,
to explain to them, no, Christians love us, and this is why they love us, and stop with your, we can't undo history. History happened, but what we've seen certainly since the Hamas attack of October 7th of 23, we've seen, I believe, in history, the greatest support from Christians for Israel and the Jewish people at any point in the last almost 2,000 years.
Catholics say there's a blessing from everything that happens if you just look for it. And that is one of the few blessings from October 7th, the fact that it seemed to encourage more Christians to get involved and support Israel, and they did.
Indeed. And when I go out and give out gifts to soldiers, and Marziyeh and I have done this in our Root and Branch program, we make sure that the soldiers know, or children, even that the program for the at-risk youth, where we spent a couple of afternoons with the kids, we make it a point of letting them know purposefully that the support is coming from Christians, just to begin to break down the barriers that are essential in building bridges. So there's a lot of reasons. I'm not justifying any of it. I think it's disgusting. And when people look at it, yes, be critical. I'm critical, but I don't think we should brandish it in saying Israel hates Christians, Jews dehumanize Christians. No, that's not true.
Right. Marziyeh, you told me last night, and it was very profound for me because I've never been to the Holy Land, but you said the first time you went there, something just changed inside of you. There was something special, spiritual that happened inside of you when you went to the Holy Land for the very first time, and it's still with you today, right?
Yes, as I mentioned, for many years since I became a Christian, visiting the Holy Land was a dream. And finally, it happened in 2023 that I was able to travel to Israel, which started again with a dream. If people read my book, A Love Journey with God, I shared lots of dreams in that book, that each time God directed me with a dream. And that dream was about the massacre in Israel about October 7th, which I didn't know at that time. 9 months after my dream,
it was a premonitional dream.
The massacre happened. But when I got that opportunity to visit the Holy Land, my understanding was that I'm going to just, finally my dream came true and I'm going to visit the land of my Savior. But I didn't know God has a bigger purpose to send me to Israel, because it was during my first trip that Jonathan's neighbor were killed by terrorists, a mother and two of her daughters, the family. And another time we were driving and a terror attack happened against Jewish people. God wanted me not only to travel to Israel to see all those biblical places, but also to witness the sufferings of his people. That's why I tell Christians it's good to every Christian. I believe every Christian must at least once travel to Israel. And when you go there, you feel so much connection in this land. There's a spirit in that country. When I traveled to Israel, I could feel it. I traveled to many countries. I never had that experience in any of those countries except Israel. And as I mentioned, God had a bigger purpose, and that's why he gave me the idea of Root and Branch, that I started with Jonathan, started working on this amazing project. And I encourage people that when you travel to Israel, it's not just visiting, okay, Jesus walked here, there, and did miracles, done, I'm done. God wanted us to be engaged with his people, with his land.
They're his chosen people.
To show our unconditional love to his people, especially at this time, the time of war. And I was thinking about that, why God didn't allow me to travel to Israel earlier. I became an American citizen in 2016. I could go anytime, but he didn't. He closed the door for me until 2023 that he gave me the dream about the massacre, and then he sent me to Israel. And in my second trip, after October 7, Jonathan took me to the communities, the kibbutz communities on the Gaza border. I sat with the families of those that survived, and they shared their stories. I asked my question, and that resonated to someone like me, because for so many years since I left Iran, I tried to be the voice of my people. I tried to bring awareness about persecution of Christians in Iran, in Muslim countries. But in 2023, when God took me to Israel, he wanted me to be also the voice of Jewish people as well, to see their sufferings. And when I visited what was happening, I sat with those people. I asked my question. One of them, I asked him, what you want me as Christians, as a Christian to do for you? What is your expectation? What do you need? And he said, we need love. And I thought about it. Okay, as a Christian, how I'm supposed to show my love to God's chosen people? It's just by sitting at home and say, I love you? No, God wanted us to be engaged and to do something in his land. And that's why I invite Christian, when you travel to Israel, that's great, seeing all those biblical places, but we must be engaged. And Root and Branch give that opportunity to people, not only to visit the holy site, but also to build a friendship, to engage with the land. We had amazing programs sitting with the family members of the hostages, and one of them was the grandfather of Gali.
Oh, that was
Ziv.
We talked about that last night.
Yeah, I had that great opportunity to pray for him with other Christians, and I couldn't control my tears during my prayer, because that resonated to me, the same situation that I experienced in prison. And I was thinking about two of his grandsons were taken hostage by these terrorists. And I started crying and praying. That came from my heart, and he held my hand, and we all prayed for him. And later he sent a text message to one of our mutual friends, and he mentioned how much that experience impacted him, and he shared with his wife. That's what we need to do as Christians.
There's a question from one of our listener producers, Flyboy. Do you think the attack against religion and Christian principles has direct correlation to the failure of our government and American issues? Well, I think that this nation has kind of fallen away from religion in a lot of respects, that there are people who don't identify as Christians or Jewish or any religion affiliation. They're not part of any organized religion, and that is doing, I think, damage to this country. What do you think, Jonathan?
I agree, and again, first of all, I mean, I'm an Orthodox Jew. I'm a proponent of people having strong faith and observing their religion, Jews and Christians. We need more of that. We need to reinforce and use this opportunity as we're celebrating 250 years of independence to reinforce those biblical Judeo-Christian values here in Israel. As it comes to my specific work with Genesis 123 Foundation, Marziyeh's work and my work together with Root and Branch, I think, and you've emphasized this a few times this morning, the need for dialogue, the need for getting to know one another. Even you, coming from New York, a heavily Jewish area, don't know a lot of things relating to Jews and Judaism. So how do you
were teaching me some things like that I didn't know.
So how is someone from Iowa supposed to know that? And conversely, how is someone from Kiryat Shmona in
I bet Sheboygan?
Where?
Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Okay, there too. but any average Israeli community, that we need to have these dialogues and interactions. When I have the opportunity to bring Christian friends to my home, I always use that opportunity to also engage other Jewish friends, so it's not just me in the bubble. And that's when you come join us in Root and Branch in October, 18th to 27th, you're going to have those experiential things, not just picking olives.
Point here from producer Spiro. I think there's a group of Christians who still blame the Jews for killing Jesus, and yet Jesus said, "No one takes my life, I lay it down willingly." So those are the people that are on the other side. Besides that soldier that smashed the statue, it's not them versus us.
I'm not sure what the reference is to them versus us.
I guess he's saying that there's no, maybe Spiro, you can clarify, it's not Israel or Jews versus Christians. It's not, that's not the...
It shouldn't be. Whether as the two faith people, the only faith people in the world who revere the creator of the universe and worship him, we are either opposite sides of the same coin or cohabiting the same side of the coin. But Marziyeh and I just shared a look because she says all the time that exactly that point about Jesus. The Jewish people didn't kill Jesus.
Right. He willingly he became the ultimate sacrifice.
Correct.
So, agreed. All right, we'll be back. More discussion with our panelists in studio today. Marziyeh, Amirizadeh. I'm going to do it one more time. Amirizadeh.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Amirizadeh.
Yeah, and also Jonathan Feldstein, the president of Genesis 123 Foundation. Back with our panelists in just a moment. Stay with us.
Here is the marine forecast from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center. Mostly sunny today with highs topping out near 83 degrees. And on the water, south-southwest winds will be breezy 10 to 20 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet. The current water temperature is 71 degrees. At Cambridge, low tide 12:40 p.m., high tide 5:52 p.m., low tide 11:59 p.m., and at Rehoboth Beach, high tide 9:23 a.m., low tide 3:11 p.m., high tide 9:49 p.m.
The Surf Report with Tim Ferry, this Friday after the 8 a.m. news, here on 92.7 and 98.5 WGMD.
This WGMD Fox Business Update is brought to you by Sussex Environmental Consultants. For a healthy home, call 302-947-1810.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks opened lower to start July. Fed Chair Kevin Warsh spoke today at a European Central Bank symposium. He failed to discuss whether the Fed could raise rates at its meeting this month. Warsh says when we get into that room and shut the door, we're going to have a good debate. I don't have much more for you. Kroger, the second largest grocer in the U.S. after Walmart, is buying Cincinnati-based Giant Eagle, which has supermarkets in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, and Indiana. Kroger shares opened down more than 0.5%. Cheerios parent company General Mills reported a better than expected quarter. The stock opened up nearly 9%. Nike shares opened lower. Investors were hoping for a faster turnaround, though it is seeing business pick up because of the World Cup. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda. Invested in you.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
Here's a look at your Delmarva forecast. Bright sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 91. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows level off around 74. Daytime highs approaching 98 tomorrow. Ample sunshine expected. Temps above average Friday and Saturday with highs from the upper 90s to near 100. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Talk of Delmarva Weather Center along the coast. Right now, 82.
The best mix of news, talk, and sports. 92.7 and 98.5. The Talk of Delmarva.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Take a break from ordinary aboard the Cape May Lewis Ferry. A 12-time winner of TripAdvisor's Award of Excellence, it's easy to see why a cruise across the Delaware Bay is a summer tradition for locals and vacationers. Enjoy cool bay breezes, lighthouses, vessels, seabirds, and maybe your own dolphin escort. And remember, vehicles, foot passengers, bikes, and pets are all welcome. Visit CMLF.com or follow on social media and take a break from the ordinary and make memories that last aboard the Cape May Lewis Ferry. The Atlantic Hotel in historic Berlin is open every day all year. Great bar, excellent lunch and dinner menus in the cafe, at a special events ballroom. Maryland seafood, steaks, or one of Chef Leo's creations will satisfy your highest expectations. Atlantic Hotel Berlin.
One blood donation can help save many lives. Give blood today. Call the Blood Bank of Delmarva at 1-888-8-BLOOD-8 or visit delmarvablood.org. For information, go to the Community Outreach under the Extras tab at thetalkofdelmarva.com.
Broadcasting from the Meineke Car Care Center studio. It's your News Talk America on 92.7 WGMD. The Talk of Delmarva.
We are less than 1 week away from the NATO summit in Turkey as the Trump administration approves a $700 million arms sale to the country. A State Department spokesperson releasing the following statement, quote, the president has been clear, Turkey is a strong member of NATO. Turkey is a significant contributor to alliance operations and missions.
Well, I don't know what to make from that news story, my friends. We talked about this at great length yesterday with some of our military analysts, the plan to sell F-35 stealth fighters to Erdogan and Turkey. Now, there are a lot of issues that members of Congress have with this. The primary issue militarily is that the Russians have technicians and their military hardware there. I think it's called the S-400 system, or I think that's what it's called. Is it, Jonathan, the S-400 system? So. Okay. So that is what concerns Congress. From the Israeli side, what concerns Israeli citizens about selling F-35 stealth fighters to Erdogan?
Well, Erdogan is an Islamist who's harboring and funding Hamas. Erdogan has made a growing number of increasing threats of reoccupying Israel and taking over Jerusalem as he wants to.
Yeah, he wants to rebuild the Ottoman Empire,
establish his caliphate.
Yeah.
We have to remember that not that many years ago, I don't remember what year, but Turkey was supposed to get F-35s, and because they bought the Russian system, America said no. Maybe that was the first Trump administration. I don't remember who. It
was the first Trump administration.
Who did it? I don't know why.
So why is the second Trump administration
I don't know why.
And
Erdogan is just a bad guy. Or Turkey doesn't belong in NATO, certainly not under him. And here's my concern as an Israeli. Erdogan is doing deliberate things to goad Israel into direct combat with Turkey, whether in Syria or directly with Turkey, and having planes that in a matter of minutes could fly from Turkey to Israel would be a threat to Israel, of course. But as a member of NATO, if Israel were to respond, it would call on all of NATO that's right. To defend Turkey. And that's an unacceptable situation. Erdogan is trying to use the already Islamification of all of Europe and the bending over backwards to bring all of that force against Israel, knowing that if Israel were to respond to a Turkish attack, NATO would have something to say about it.
Spiro responded in the Dial Lounge at realnewstalk.com. I do not trust Turkey. They are a Muslim country. Yes, they play both sides of the fence, but remember what happened to Anwar Sadat, President Trump. Watch your back.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go online making that kind of statement.
Wow.
But okay.
Okay. Thank you, Spiro. We appreciate your comments. If you would like to join the conversation here by phone, you can do so. 800-518-9292. 800-518-9292 is our number here in Studio A. Now, when we come back, I want to talk to you both about the NCRI, otherwise known as the Mujahideen. I just got the Vulcan eyebrow from Jonathan about the NCRI. Now, the NCRI has made a number of contributions about the situation in Iran on this program. But there's a problem. And Marziyeh, you do not trust the NCRI, and there are a bunch of reasons why. You feel that in some respects they are actually more deadly than the current regime in Iran. Am I correct about that?
Yes, it's not just me do not trust them. It's majority of Iranians do not want these people because they were the ones that supported Khomeini to come to power, and then after that they had a struggle sharing power, and the leaders.
So they supported Khomeini coming back to Iran from France, where he was being given.
Yes. And the danger about them is that they strongly believe in Islam and Marxism, which is very dangerous. And Iranian people joking and saying that if these people are coming to lead the country, we prefer the Ayatollahs. That way they wanted to show that how much they hate this terrorist group. And for so many years, they were part of a terrorist list because they left the country and they stationed in Iraq. And during Iran-Iraq war, they helped Saddam Hussein and they killed ordinary Iranian people. And then finally, Hillary Clinton took...
They were gassed.
Yeah,
Iranian citizens were gassed by the Iraqis, were they not?
And they have the blood of also Americans on their hands. And finally, they decided to take their name out of the list of terrorists. But the problem is that their ideology is very strict, and it's not based on the information that I read about them. I was in prison with them. A few of them, even though I built...
So you know the way they think.
Yes, I build a friendship with them. A few of them are my friends. But as far as their ideology and their mindset, they are very strict regarding their belief in Islam and Marxism. And this is very dangerous. Are we going to replace the Islamic Republic regime with another terrorist group? And this is ridiculous. And they have lots of money and they... by politicians. They have confiscated, occupied most of media platforms and pay $100,000s of dollars to our politicians. They invited Mike Pompeo to speak for them, Mike Pence, John Bolton, and they paid $100,000s of dollars to these speakers just to buy credit for themselves. And another interesting thing about that, because they are hated by majority of Iranians, and Iranians...
And they claim that's not the case. They claim that the Crown Prince is hated. They don't want him back. Because when I've had NCRI guests on a number of times, and I've mentioned about the show, no, we don't want him back. Absolutely not.
Of course
absolutely
they
not.
don't want him. If they are truly the voice of Iranian people, why they do not echo the voice of people? Millions of Iranians came to the streets. They called the name of Prince Reza Pahlavi, but they never mentioned that. Where was that people, Iranian people called Maryam Rajavi, their leader, to come back to Iran? That's why they are angry, and instead of fighting against Islamic Republic regime, they are fighting against Pahlavi, the only opposition that is supported by millions of Iranians. And they are keep changing the name of their organization.
It was the Mujahideen, the MEK.
Mujahideen, MEK, PMOI, NCRI, because Iranians keep exposing them, and they have to change their name in order to be able to deceive Western people to get their support.
Well, we'll talk more about the NCRI and why they are able to have such an extensive media presence. I mean, they're everywhere. Fox uses them. I use them. There are media outlets all over the world that are using representatives speaking on behalf of the NCRI. But are they speaking on behalf of the Iranian people? Well, Marziyeh, Amirizadeh.
Yes.
I did it?
Yes, you did it.
And Jonathan Feldstein believe otherwise.
This is your